Hey everybody, Red here. Today's the day one of my favorite killers gets his well-deserved rank 1 mindset, and that is the Trapper. The Trapper is one of the few killers in the game that is less about looping survivors and more about outsmarting and outplanning them. It is a very different and unique playstyle from the other killers in the game, and is one of the very reasons why I adore this killer so much. But let's go over what I believe to be one of the best Trapper builds. Infectious Fright, save the best for last, or Sloppy Butcher if you prefer that, Corrupt Intervention, and Pop Goes the Weasel. In Infectious Fright, after downing a survivor, all other survivors within your terror radius will scream revealing their location. Save the best for last. Anytime you hit a non-obsession survivor, gain a token. Every token increases your successful basic attack cooldown by 5% to a max of 8 stacks or 40% cooldown. Hitting the obsession will make you lose 2 stacks. Corrupt Intervention. At the start of the game, the 3 gens farthest from your spawn are blocked by the entity for 2 minutes. This perk of course is great with all killers who need a little bit of time to set up. Pop Goes the Weasel. After hooking a survivor, the next generator you kick will instantly lose 25% of its progress, though you only have 45 seconds to do so. For add-ons, I personally take the Trapper Bag and the Tar Bottle. Trapper Bag allows me to carry and start off with 1 additional trap, and the Tar Bottle darkens all my traps, making them harder to detect and give me a few different options for trap locations. Yes, the Stitch Bag, that's a purple add-on, is better, but I tend to play my games only with a green or yellow add-ons unless I'm running a special fun build. But that's it for the build, and I hope you all enjoy the gameplay. And if you do enjoy a great community with numerous games and custom matches including myself, make sure to join the Discord. And if you're curious on who the next rank 1 killer mindset is going to be on, make sure to be following me on Twitter as I will reveal the next killer there. This gameplay was just before the rank reset, so that's why you see the rank 5 here, but you'll see the rank 1 at the end of the game. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the game. The first thing about starting a match with Trapper is definitely going to be the map you are playing on, as it should dictate how you are going to be playing that round. Maps from the Macmillan Estate, Coldwind Farm, and Dead Dog Saloon are great for placing traps around loops in tall grass, and for sneaky pathing traps to catch survivors off guard before they ever make it to a loop in general. Maps like The Game, Larry's Institute, and Hawkins make traps extremely visible, which the traps then become more useful at pallet drops themselves to deny a loop, or entryway into rooms where a survivor might turn into when running away from you. Traps like this are great with multiple purposes. Not only does this stop a survivor from entering this way and heading to the vault, it could also catch the survivor running away from the gen when they hear my terror radius coming, or get me a free injure if I'm too far away from the trap when it gets triggered. And since it's not like my last trap, it's not directly at a loop, and most survivors won't go looking for it. Noticing Cheryl out in the open, I decided to go ahead and give a small chase. While getting traps up is important, you still want to provide pressure when you can, but still remember to avoid long chases. Luckily for me, Cheryl is big derps right here, and I get myself a free down and a free hook. Right after hooking Cheryl, I find myself in another chase. This is a good and bad thing. While it's nice to be in chase so quickly, it's bad because I have no traps in the area and I'm not using this said time to place more traps for future chases. The only reason I continue this chase here is due to the fact that Kate is looping near the hook. This means I am currently pressuring 3 survivors. The hook, Cheryl, the Kate I am currently chasing, and the 3rd survivor who must now come and save Cheryl. Scratch marks near hook mean I ignore Kate and go for the survivor unhooking Cheryl. Since Fang is running towards a currently placed trap, I follow this chase. Playing Trapper is really just about pushing survivors the way you want them to go and punishing them when they do so. Trapper is the herder of Dead by Daylight. When running a survivor into a trap, there's a great euphoric feeling, and this is what makes Trapper so enjoyable to play. It makes you feel like you are really outsmarting and outplanning all the survivors around you, and is why he's one of my favorite killers in the game. Thanks to Infectious Fright, I get extra value out of my initial down. Another reason why Infectious Fright is valuable on Trapper is when you slug and then place traps after. Slugging generates pressure to bring survivors in, but Infectious lets you know that no one is around and it's safe to place a trap. Or that someone is around and then you can go get extra value from your slug by chasing them. In all cases, it's a really useful perk to the Trapper. When a survivor is hooked, especially during early game, it's a great time to start looking at setting up some traps, as not only can you patrol while doing this, but survivors are going to have to stop doing gens in order to come and save their teammate. And in this case, all the survivors are also injured and most likely will want to try and heal, buying a ton of time to get traps down. And when placing traps, notice that most of the traps are actually hidden by the terrain itself and not directly at the pallet, but rather around the loop instead. Pallet traps at higher ranks are very predictable and oftentimes will get disarmed if you leave the area, or during chase the survivor will simply dead hard over top of them. Pallet traps themselves work best when hidden by tall grass, or in maps such as the game when you're trying to just deny the pallet play itself. But for a majority of games, you'll want your traps to do more than just deny said loop. You'll want them to catch survivors because it's a quicker chase, especially if the survivor is full health. I was actually quite surprised here, as I did not know that survivors could flashlight through the spacing of the trailer there, and overall was a nice and cheeky attempt at a save. It didn't work, but it was a good try, and I might have to try it in my future games as survivor. To the next note though, I love survivors that use flashlights, as they are typically quite predictable and want to go for saves, but they often get detected by Infectious Fright, which grants me free hits on them with simple baits to picking up survivors. Since I see Fang running for the save, instead of saving my stacks for save the best for last, I down Kate and pressure Fang away from saving the hook. The more survivors you can pressure at a time, the better it can bring gen progress to a complete halt. This chase on Fang here is nothing more than to pressure the last survivor standing. I'm not looking really down Fang here, I'm looking to remove pallets and force the other survivor to make a move. That move just so happened to be in a trap, but the downside being that she's trapped too far away currently, so it's best to pick up Kate. Kate uses Unbreakable and goes for the stun. By picking up my trap, I avoid the stun right there on the little corner. Picking up the trap itself doesn't avoid the stun, but rather the animation for picking up and putting down traps moves the hitboxes back just a little bit, and that's what allows you to avoid some stuns in little tiny areas like that. But if you're sitting right under a pallet trying to set a trap, you're still going to get stunned, so don't try that. I see the generator by the trees and see it has some decent progress. I'm already planning on hooking Kate near that gen to not only get good use out of Pop Goes Weasel, but it is a good place to hook the survivor since it's by a gen within my side of the map and where all my traps are currently placed. Claudette wants to pull my attention, and this is honestly a pretty big mistake on her part. She should be pressuring me by working on gens. It would be different maybe if she had a toolbox and was aiming to break the hook, but dancing out here for no reason just allows me to pressure her and get rid of a problem pallet for later without the fear of survivors finishing up gens. Remember, we're still affecting 3 survivors right now. Since I broke chase immediately after breaking the pallet to go and use my pop on the gen, I catch Cheryl going for the save. Now imagine the pressure lost if I had actually continued to chase the Claudette to go for that down. This is why knowing when to break chase is quite important. Remember, a win in a chase can be as simple as breaking a pallet very quickly. In this moment, I'm already planning my next move. After pop, I'm going to fake the pickup, and with the way Kay has been playing all game, it's very easy to tell that she's very greedy with flashlight saves and makes it a very easy target with a fake pickup. Infectious allows us to see Claudette on the generator, and the only loop nearby is the one I already have trapped, making this a very easy snowball play. Predicting survivors' actions is quite a handy skill when it comes to playing killer, and more so with trapper and hag since you have to plan ahead. This is actually why I recommend to play both survivor and killer. If the hook wasn't so close here, I would actually have left her slug to head back to the other 2 who are on the ground. Make sure you think about the time spent when taking a survivor to a hook. Cheryl runs at me and reveals after hit that she has Soul Guard, and this leads me to believe that she also used Unbreakable. This also is going to allow me to eat the DS from Kate, as I have plenty of time with no pressure from survivors. Now isn't that the most satisfying thing you all have seen? It's always sweet to see the clicking flashlight for attention into a DS eat a trap into a free hook. If you're worried about the potential for a pallet save, make sure to trap one end of the pallet in order to stop a survivor from dropping it on you from that side. And as long as you pick up from the middle to back side of the pallet, it's actually impossible for survivors to drop the pallet on you, as you'll body block the interaction to do so. Since I haven't seen Fang in a long time, I figure she must be on a gen across map, and I decide here to save my Pop Goes Weasel for that generator instead. Looks like Fang finally came around and now is running in the direction of the generators I want to be checking. Again, we're doing more than just chasing survivors here. I'm also patrolling the other gens while pressuring the Fang. This allows me to make split-second decisions based on the information I get while patrolling and chase. As killer, especially trapper, you should very rarely follow a survivor to a part of the map where the gens are all completed, and always want to accomplish more than one task, even with just simply chasing itself. Since I have pushed the Fang to the other side and down Claudette, I have enough time here to go and quickly check the other generator and pick up my trap. Now be cautious with how long you leave a survivor slugged. I could have went and actually kicked that other generator to start the regression process, but that may have been enough time to give the survivors a chance to pick up Claudette. While slugging is a great tool in a killer's arsenal, you still want to get the hook out of it at the end of the day. There are a lot of ways to play Trapper here in this position. You could actually aim to go and just M1 the rest of the survivors here and try and stop them from saving Claudette to generate a massive amount of pressure. But me, myself, I actually play very methodically and patient as Trapper. I have no problem hooking Claudette here and going around pick up and reset my traps. With that being said, you still want to make sure that your generators aren't being worked on by survivors, even if that means you have to go and scare them off of the generator before going back and placing traps. When playing Trapper and checking generators, pay attention where the scratch marks are. This notates the survivor's running path, and most survivors will take the same path, especially if it's to a loop. This makes for a great opportunity to put down what I like to call a pathway trap. It's not at a loop and doesn't deny a loop, but can catch a survivor later when you return to patrol that said generator. These traps are also less likely to get disarmed, as long as you're not being watched, of course. While I want to go and place more traps for future chases, it would cost me greatly, as most likely survivors are across the map working on these two generators instead. The locker gets my attention and I figure why not have a free hook, but this would have been an awesome time for a deception play, but alas, Claudette was just doing what Claudettes do, hide, and apparently missed Decisive Strike. Make sure to assert some dominance to Clicky Flashlight Gal, as you know she'll be a goober and eat a hit for no reason, and be a prime next target since she's on Death Hook. Now, something I get asked about a lot is, Red, why are you attacking or killing off the Obsession and running Save the Best for last? Don't you know that hitting the Obsession makes you lose stacks? Don't you know that killing the Obsession you can't gain stacks anymore? Well, yes, I know all of that. I've played this game for quite a while. But as Trapper, my only form of hitting a target is M1, unless of course they are in a trap and I can just pick them up. And I will never let any survivor just get away because they are the Obsession. You're losing pressure by doing that. You still need to pressure a survivor and hit them and cause an injury, or make some kind of trade there if you need to. You still need to pressure a survivor, and if you have the opportunity to kill a survivor, then you need to take it, even if it's the Obsession and it renders Save the Best for Last useless for the rest of the game. Killing one survivor in the earlier mid-game throws the game heavily into the killer's favor and amplifies all future pressure in that game. Save the Best for Last is a great perk, but you should never deny yourself the free pressure in fear of losing stacks. If you do find yourself doing this quite often, you need to go ahead and stop using Save the Best for Last and take Sloppy Butcher here instead. Now that the game is down to 2 survivors only, I essentially have sealed my victory, and seeing Fang here gives me a quick access to do so. Thank you for not hiding. And falling straight for that trap. Big brain time, let's go. As always, if you are desperate for the 4K, you can leave the Fang slugged here and go looking for the last survivor. I personally would rather get into another game faster, so I tend to never worry about the 4K itself. When getting ready for the in-game collapse, go ahead and make sure to place a trap at one of the gates in order to be notified when a survivor tries to leave via the doors, since the survivor will have to actually disarm the trap before doing so. Fang is killing herself on hook, which leads me to believe the last survivor has already claimed the hatch, and with that we'll go ahead and claim ourselves the 3K as we have successfully controlled the entire game. I hope this rank 1 mindset helps out all of you who've picked up the Trapper or have been struggling with him recently. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, make sure to leave a like and a subscribe with the bell notification to keep up with all future videos. If you're a Trapper man and felt I missed something here, feel free to put it in the comment section below to help out the community. And as always, I'm Red, and I'm signing off. Come on.